What's up, everyone? Lord Ryujin here again. So I recently came across an article online that was talking about how Nintendo should use their NFC technology. And I do agree with this, but Nintendo has already announced that they're using this for Pokemon. What this person was talking about, though, was they wanted to see it in Super Smash Bros. I think that that's a little too much, and here's the reason why. Ideally, it works. It does. It works. The idea of using NFC for Super Smash Bros., I will admit, works because you have the idea in front of you that you can basically buy the 20, 30, 50, however many characters you want to buy to make your ideal dream roster. To put the characters that I see people all the time on YouTube say that they want to see put in the Smash Brothers game. And all you have to do is buy a little figurine of Marth or a little figurine of whichever character you are a fan of and put it in the roster and play with them. That is the idea. But the second, and from now on these are the things that I don't like, is that for one, money. I'm going to already go off and spend probably close to $120 on this. I mean, if I spend $60 on the Wii U version of Smash Brothers, and I go off and I spend, let's say, maybe another $40 to $50 on the 3DS version of Smash Brothers, I've spent more than $100 already on Smash Brothers. Then you're going to tell me that, well, it only gives you these 5 basic characters, and you have to buy more expansions that are 5 characters, and that's going to be another $20 or something like that. So I have to plop down more money to get every single figurine that comes out because I want to have the most I can get out of this game. I want to be able to play with every single character that is available to me. And that's a lot of money that I don't have. A lot of time and money that Nintendo does have that they could put into other projects that they're now wasting having to constantly update Super Smash Brothers just so that way, what, Capcom came out with a Joe Valentine figurine? We've got to get to working on that code. You know, I mean, that's just, it's ridiculous. So while I like the idea on paper, in theory or in real life, I don't think it's going to work. The other idea, the other reason why I don't think it's going to work is because when I used to play Pokemon and when I used to play Magic the Gathering, people would always buy the latest expansion. They would always have the latest card or whatever, so they'd have the biggest and the best, and that made the other ones obsolete. This is the same thing that I feel is going to happen with Smash Brothers. The next expansion that comes out for it, that includes, you know, again, 5, 10, however many characters that comes out, they're going to be the biggest and the best, and the ones that you bought before, they're obsolete. No one's going to want to play with them anymore. So what's the point? You know? And then if it is a case like Pokemon, then all it takes is for somebody to get something like a Mewtwo or one of those uber powerful Pokemon, and none of the other Pokemon are going to make a difference. They're not. They're going to be slaughtered. And all it's going to take is for them to say, oh, well, here's Tattoo, or here's Master Hand, and if you put that figurine on there, it's game over because they're just boom, you know, they're too powerful. They're going to basically defeat all other characters. And all it's going to take is for somebody to plop down a few $100s to get that one and win all online matches and make it totally unfair for the people who can't afford those figurines. Because maybe they want an allowance, or, you know, maybe it's something that their parents can't justify, or maybe it's something they just can't justify the price for themselves. And now they're basically getting slaughtered online, and they're like, I'm not interested in this anymore, and they give up. They leave Nintendo. They go somewhere else because somebody had to go ruin the entire experience. I just don't think that's fair. I mean, playing within the confines of code that's written, like in Brawl, you have to work within the confines of those characters. And if you can win with those, then that's fine. But to just sit here and automatically make it one-sided because, you know, this character is obviously more powerful than these, that's a little unfair to me. Another reason why is because I believe in the fact of earning. I believe in the idea of earning your characters. And in Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Melee and all the other Smash Bros. Games that have come out, and hopefully all the ones that will come out, you have to earn characters. You know, you just don't plop down a figurine and boom, that character's unlocked. You know, I like the idea of having certain set matches, like play 2 hours of Brawl and boom, this character comes up. Or have Jigglypuff and Kirby fight each other for, you know, something like that. You know, like the conditions that it took to unlock Mewtwo in Melee, for example. That's something that I'm talking about. You know, you had to go and do a lot to get these characters, so that way you felt like you earned them. That's what I want to see, because it's a fighting game, essentially, at heart. And in a fighting game, you go through some kind of a story mode, you go through some kind of match conditions to get these characters. You don't just plop down something and boom, they're there. And while we're talking about plopping down a character, that to me just seems like a lot of clutter. You know, even if you can say, well, you don't have to go off and buy every single character. Well, how many is the limit? Are you just going to allow us to only get 10 characters and we have to swap them out with the figurines so that way it's like a strategy? Or are you just going to allow us to basically put any figurine that we want in there? Because either way, it seems like a lot of clutter, because whether you say, well, you can only do 10 at a time, well, I've bought 100 figurines that are sitting on a shelf, so I can just swap them out at any time. You know, again, see my earlier rant within this video about how, you know, an Uber character is basically going to, you know, all that stuff. But even if they do say, well, you know, you can keep them all, that's hundreds of characters, possibly thousands, depending upon what they do. If they say, well, we want third-party developers to bring their figurines in, well, that's thousands of possibilities, isn't it? And even if it stays within Nintendo, that's still thousands of possibilities. You know how many characters, you know how many franchises, you know how many games they could pull from? It's endless. And that to me is just too much clutter. You know, the whole point in my videos that I did earlier about Smash Brothers and the characters that I wanted to see within them was to split up the roster, because I thought Brawl had too many characters. And to split up the characters to roughly about 20 or so characters per game that really matter, and then taking the other characters that were less important, that had more significance on 3DS, and putting them in the 3DS version. That was the whole point. And going on that point, the 3DS doesn't have NFC technology, so how is that going to work? Because, you know, Masahiro Sakurai was hinting back when Project Sora was working on the game. I don't know if it's different now with Namco Bandai, but it seemed like the developers were hinting back in the day that there would be 3DS and Wii U transferability and interchangeability. How is that going to work if you use NFC technology? You know, because on one hand, yes, great, interchangeability. I can change out the roster. I can do as I like, and it's very strategic, and I can do a team battle with 5 people. And these are the 5 that I'm going to go in with. And it's a very novel idea, but how's that going to work for the Nintendo 3DS? It doesn't have it. Now, if you have some kind of a thing that shows up on the bottom screen to where it's about scanning, then you can just do that with cards or something. You don't need the NFC technology. Now, that's my rant for now. I think I've kind of gone through all my ideas. It just doesn't seem like it's a good idea. Make sure that you sound off with your ideas on the subject, of course. But just when it comes to me, I don't think that this is going to work. I mean, too many characters, too much clutter, too much time and money spent on Nintendo's behalf to constantly update it. It just doesn't seem like a good mix. But make sure you sound off in the comments below about what you think. And as always, guys, this is just my opinion. I'll see you guys next time.